What's happening, everybody? My name's Noah. I'm the host of SA TV, and I'm here joined by Jenna.
Hi, guys.
We're going to be doing a live giveaway and a reptile show and tell. So let's go ahead and bust out the first animal, and we'll do a little bit of chatting about the podcast. So every single week we want to go live and we want to drop an IGTV. This week our theme is going to be reptiles, exotic reptiles. We've got some really cool animals with us to show you, and also we're doing a live giveaway. So if you have any pictures of you holding an exotic animal, something like this, drop it in the comments and we'll pick one lucky winner to receive, I don't know, we'll do a 5-pack of face shields and a hat. So guys, go ahead and drop your guesses in the comments, and please go ahead and tag your friends. So what do we have here first?
So this is a carpet python.
Cool.
He'll be, as you can see, I say he's small, but he is quite long.
Is this one of yours?
This is one of birds and exotics.
Okay.
So I would say all the animals that we're going to go through today are birds and exotics of the world, which is an educational, I guess, embassies. All these animals are educational animals. We use them for outreach. We just did an event with the YMCA this past weekend.
Cool.
So just anything to get any of the youth and the public involved with native animals and exotics in general.
Awesome. Now, is this something that's local or supposed to be local to the South Florida area?
No, this animal is not local at all. So this is actually a native animal to Australia and to the like New Guinea area.
Very cool.
And as you can see, he wraps. They are semi-arboreal, so he'll hold on all by himself.
That's really cool.
And he'll climb. And these guys will actually get about 9 feet in length. And they spend most of their times up in the trees. You can actually find them in Australia. They'll actually climb themselves into roofs in really urban areas.
Oh, wow.
And they eat small mammals, including rodents, and then birds and lizards as well.
Okay, so we know their diet. What's the life expectancy of an animal like this?
Life expectancy is at least 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They live a very long time. So this one is actually about 2.5, 3 years old at this point.
Okay.
And he's on a very well maintenance diet. We don't power feed them.
Sure.
We could get them to full size very quickly, especially in captivity. If you just keep offering food, they'll keep eating. So he's on a nice maintenance diet, so he doesn't get too big too fast, but he'll stay with us for his entire life.
So now, is this a pet that you can, I shouldn't say pet, I mean, is this considered a pet, or is this something that
people do keep him as pets.
Okay.
For our purposes, he's an animal ambassador.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so he's just used for educational shows. He's super used to being handled. Obviously, he's got a lot of energy. He's going to go. He's in a new place.
Totally gotcha.
So, but he's
just trying to check everything out.
Yeah, he's sniffing around, checking things out.
That's awesome. So typically, their demeanor, I'm sure, is relatively laxed. Are they more aggressive in the wild, or how does that work?
Well, it's like any animal. They're not necessarily aggressive. If they're in a situation where they feel threatened, they become defensive.
Gotcha.
And that's the same for every animal that we're going to have today, and every animal that you come in contact with in the wild. If they feel like they're being threatened, then they will get very defensive, and they may bite, they may hiss, whatever they can do to make them seem like they're big and scary and be left alone.
Totally gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, what would be, just out of curiosity, what would be like an entry-level reptile for someone? Maybe an entry-level snake, I would say, for someone.
An entry-level snake?
Is this like maybe more intermediate?
I would for personal keeping, I would consider this intermediate, just because they do reach a large size. They can reach over 9 feet in length.
Sure. It's a big pet.
So yeah, they can get quite large, and so I think the most important thing as far as determining what an entry-level snake would be is to figure out what you are comfortable with as far as size and food. I mean, you can get an animal that it gets up to 13 feet if you have the space in the caging for it and you're happy to pay for the food. Then as long as you can keep it well, you can keep it well.
Fair enough.
So I would potentially suggest something that stays on the smaller size. For most people, either a smaller corn snake, ball pythons I know are really popular.
Okay.
They stay a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to manage for the most part. But again, if your size limit is a 10-gallon tank, even a ball python is going to need something closer to 40 gallons, and it's an adult.
Wow.
So you really have to take into consideration how big they're going to get and how long you're going to have them, because ideally you're going to get a pet and you're going to keep it for its whole life.
For sure.
Yeah.
So now, how long or how often would a snake like that shed its skin?
Depends on how much they grow.
Okay.
So usually.
So that's kind of in your hands. Like
yeah, this one usually sheds about once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, approximately
Gotcha.
once a month. If they don't eat, if they some animals if they like go into torpor in winter or they broomy, so basically like hibernation, they won't shed because they're not eating. They're just staying their same body weight.
Makes sense. Now, is this an animal that you have to keep alone, or can you keep them with others of the same breed?
So you can keep them together if you really want to. It just meets bigger caging requirements.
Gotcha.
So keeping them singly, you can get away with something a little on the smaller side, but as soon as you put two animals, you have to make sure they have enough space for both of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. I think we can go ahead and take a look at the next animal. That's awesome. Very cool. So guys, if you're just tuning in, we're doing a live reptile show and a giveaway. Drop your best photo of you with a wild animal. Doesn't, obviously don't put yourself in danger to do it, but we definitely want to see some really cool photo comments down below, and we're going to pick one lucky winner to receive a hat and 5 face shields. We're doing this every single week, and if you guys want to be on the live stream, if you want to join us here, send me an email to noah@sateam.company, and we'll see if we can get you on the show. So cool. So I think we have a couple more animals. To show you guys. So what's up next?
Right. So this is a diamondback terrapin.
Very cool.
Very, very pretty.
Very interesting color on the actual skin.
Yeah, they almost look like little Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Yeah, very speckled.
Wow.
So these guys are native actually to Florida. You can find them throughout the coast, starting up in the northern regions, Cape Cod area, New Jersey. They go all the way down around Florida and across the Gulf.
Awesome. Here, can we bring it forward so you can see him really good? That's awesome. So now, what does something like this eat?
So he'll eat all sorts of stuff. They eat snails. They'll eat any other types of crustaceans, barnacles. They have a very strong palate.
Sure.
So I don't know if
No,
he just wants to walk.
Gotcha.
But they have a very strong beak, and that's used for crushing, so they can get through all sorts of thicker shell crabs.
Okay. So they'll be known to be omnivorous. I guess is the word.
Yeah, they'll feed a little bit on plant material as well, but mostly it's going to be the mollusks.
Gotcha. And I see they have web toes.
Yeah, they have a little bit of web toes, and they got nails for digging.
Gotcha.
The webbing is really prominent on the back.
Is this going to be something that's similar to a gopher tortoise, where they're kind of really close to both environments? And are these guys protected as well?
So these guys are protected depending on what state you're in.
Gotcha.
So further south, I don't believe they're as protected in Florida as they are maybe in a state like Maryland. In Maryland, these turtles are very, very, very protected. They're used to be heavily harvested, and so they are listed in certain states. Maryland is one of them. Totally
got you. So you find them definitely outside of Florida. What are some other how far does their population expand?
So the population goes along. It's going to be in the coastal regions. They prefer brackish water.
Okay.
And not necessarily salt, but brackish or fresh water. So they do estuaries a lot.
Okay.
But they will go all the way down the eastern United States around Florida and then across the Gulf.
Gotcha. Now, tortoises, I believe, are known to have really long lives. What's the life expectancy on an animal like this?
An animal like this is a very long time. They can live over 40 years easily.
Wow.
And they are mostly aquatic, so they will come out of the water. They will walk around on land, especially to nest. Females will come up and they'll lay their eggs on land, obviously. And those juveniles, once they hatch, it's questionable as to of what they do. So in certain areas, not a lot is known about their habits. So some of them, the hatchlings, will spend a lot of time on land and stay in closer to little puddles, and then other times they'll go straight back into the estuary or the open water that they came from. Yeah. So
we're still doing a lot of research on these animals. I'm sure that there's tons we don't know. From what I understand, you have a little bit of a role in research. How does that work?
Yeah, so I actually, I'm a student and a wildlife biologist for the University of Florida right now. And I work mostly with non-native species. So things like the Burmese python and the Argentine black and white tegus that we have.
Very cool. I know we have the tortoise here, but talk to me a little bit about the tegu. It's really not an animal I'm familiar with.
Yeah, so the Argentine black and white tegu is native to South America, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay. They are here in the pet trade. So they were introduced for a while now. The population in Florida, I believe they found in the early 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you used an interesting word, pet trade. Can you talk to me a little bit about, I guess, what that is and how that works?
Yeah, so I mean, the pet trade in general is just the trade of pets. It's you want a turtle, he wants a turtle, she wants a turtle. It's importing and exporting animals for personal keeping.
How is that regulated? I'm
There's
sure there's like
there's a whole bunch of legislation that regulates it. I'm not entirely familiar with all of it, but it is regulated quite heavily, especially and by different agencies. So like all the ports, airports, seaports, all of those are regulations for what comes in and what goes out.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and see the next animal. Yes, you got all kinds of cool stuff here, huh?
Save the best for last.
Awesome. So guys, if you're just joining us, we're doing a live giveaway and we're doing a live reptile show here today. We're doing a little bit of show and tell with Jenna Cole. You can how can we find you on Instagram, by the way?
I am Snake Princess X Snake X underscore
X underscore
X Snake underscore Princess
X underscore X Snake
underscore Princess.
That is it. If you guys want to follow Jenna, and again, these are not your animals. You said you had a friend. There's a connection that you have.
Yeah. So all of these animals are from Birds and Exotics of the World, and they're all ambassador animals. They get used for educational programs. All sorts of things we do with these guys, but most of it involves bringing them out and talking to people about them.
Very cool. So educate me a little bit on this guy here.
All right, so if you guys are from Florida, this might be an animal that you are pretty familiar with, especially right now. It's their breeding season, so I've seen a lot of newscasts where they've been popping up on people's porches. Mm-hmm. This is a young American alligator. This is actually about a 1.5 to 2-year-old animal.
Is it like, can you know how like on a puppy the teeth are way sharper? Is that the same deal here?
Not necessarily. I mean, they are very sharp.
Sure.
We just keep it just in case he does decide to get springy or anything. We don't want him snapping on anyone's fingers or anything like that. Yeah.
So how old is an alligator like this?
This is about a 1.5 to 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So alligators, I think, are another animal that has a very, very long life expectancy. Mm-hmm. How long is an American alligator?
They actually do not have a max age right now.
Really?
So they grow indefinitely as far as we can tell, and they age indefinitely as far as we can tell. There has not been any like number really slapped on it, but usually
even in captivity versus wild,
still they live for a very, very long time, easily over 60 years.
That's crazy. So now, what do you have to do exactly? I mean, you can't just go get an alligator as a pet.
Yeah, alligators are actually heavily regulated here in Florida. They're actually a protected species. So alligators in the wild are protected, and that's partially due to the fact that we actually have another crocodilian here in Florida called the American crocodile.
Yes.
And American crocodiles are threatened, and so as a way to protect those crocodiles, we actually are also protecting alligators as well.
It's the same effort.
Yeah, so you can't go out and grab a crocodile and say, oh, I thought it was an alligator, because they're both protected.
Right.
Yeah, so you can't go out and grab either of them.
So what are some steps that you have to take in order to say that I possess an alligator legally? What are some things you have to do to get there?
So there's a bunch of permits that you have to go through and get. All the information for that is on the FWC website, but essentially you need to work with them in a facility or some type of captive or wild setting. Professionally, you have to get letters of recommendation, and then you have to basically say, like, this is how many hours I have, I know what I'm doing, I can safely handle and work with these animals, and then you're able to go ahead and get a permit to keep them, essentially.
Very cool. So drop some more fun facts about this guy. This is so cool. We don't we've had snakes here once or twice, but never an alligator.
Yeah, so he's pretty funky. This is Smog, by the way, guys.
Do we know if it's a male or a female yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're gonna go with it's a boy.
Okay.
Until further notice, Smog is a boy.
Gotcha.
Let's see, fun facts. Well, right now, as I said earlier, it's their breeding season. So they are super active. They are known to travel around, especially males will go and look for females. They grow pretty slowly. I mean, this is a 2-year-old animal. You can see he's only about maybe 2 feet long.
Right.
So they grow approximately a foot a year. And then eventually, once they hit maturity, they'll slow down. So a mature animal is about 6 feet long. And they grow, like I said earlier, it's getting a little squirmy. They grow indeterminately right now, as far as we can tell, so they'll keep growing and growing and growing and growing, even if it's at a much slower rate.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, They're pretty fun, and you can find them all the way up to North Carolina as well.
I was going to ask, how far does their population
they can go all the way
extend?
up to North Carolina. There's only one other type of alligator that still exists in the world. It's a Chinese alligator. So it's the only other species of alligator that exists in the entire world. Up in their northern extent of their range, you guys might have seen it. It went viral last year. When the lakes froze over, the alligators will actually stick their noses up in the ice and let the ice freeze around their nostrils so they can breathe. So they'll be in cold water in a kind of dormant stage, but still able to breathe with their noses out.
I've seen that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so they're really, really, really smart. That's actually something that American crocodiles don't do.
Really?
So that's one of the reasons that the crocodiles are secluded to South Florida.
Totally
they don't go up very far because they can't deal with the freezing cold temperatures.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now obviously it's a reptile. It's going to do better in the heat. Is there too hot for a reptile like this? Is there too cold for I mean, what, like, you know?
Well, they are really cool in the fact that reptiles can thermoregulate.
Okay.
So if they ever get too hot, as long as they have a place they can go that's cooler, they'll move back and forth. They are capable of getting burned. So just like we get burned when we hit too hot temperatures, they actually are capable of getting burned. As far as how hot it would have to be to take for that to happen, I actually don't know, but it is possible for them to withstand some pretty high temperatures.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Very, very good stuff. And one more time, if you could tell us where these animals came from, that'd be great.
Yeah, so all of the animals today came from Birds and Exotics of the World. There's a website if you go to birdsandexoticsoftheworld.com, and then also an Instagram page and Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention, or we forgot?
No, I think that's
pretty
everybody.
much it.
Yeah, they're pretty fun, pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. And Jenna, how can we find you again on Instagram?
I am Snake Princess on Instagram, so that's an X_snake_princess.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. It was really cool. Love to do something again pretty soon.
Yeah,
we want to do a
absolutely.
python hunt. We just did one this week. We want to do another. They're fun.
Awesome. That's great.
Cool. Guys, thank you again for joining us. Follow Jenna on Instagram. Check out, what is the place called again?
Birds and Exotics
Birds
of the
and
World.
Exotics of the World. Definitely give them a like and a follow. And yeah, guys, we're doing a photo contest. We're doing a giveaway. Go ahead and drop your best picture of you with a wild or exotic animal in the comments, and we'll pick one lucky winner to receive a hat, 5 face shields. And if you want to join us on the podcast, send me an email to noah@sateam.company. We'll see if we can get you on the show. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.